for tuning in to another fun episode with your favorite Mouseka moms, Jennifer,
Hello.
Juliana,
Hi.
and Lori. That's me. We have something special for you today. We are straying away from the theme parks and giving you a look at a less commonly known offering by the Walt Disney World Travel Company, Adventures by Disney. Adventures by Disney combines world-class vacation itineraries with magical touch and customer experience you have come to expect from Disney. Experience the world through the eyes of the storyteller and become part of the story. So I can continue to read this on, but Adventures by Disney is basically a tour group that is for your family, but done by Disney. So better than any other tour group you can think of, as they plan everything, and everything is first class and amazing. It is something that my family's always wanted to do. So we are going to spend the episode talking about that. But before we dive deep into the many adventures available to you through this program, we of course need the Mouseka cocktail.
Of course, we need the Mouseka cocktail. So, in Adventures by Disney tours, you can go where guests are seldom allowed for unique behind-the-scenes glimpses into some of these exotic locales and different places and events around the globe. You get that Disney insider touch. They offer guests access to a lot of opportunities that aren't available to the general public. It's like having a backstage pass to the world. So, for example, on their adventure in Italy, adult guests can experience a wine tasting in the Fiori family's winery, which is, I guess, not open to the public. You can tour the winery, enjoy a tasting, and sample a lot of different vintages. So, in keeping with that, our Mouseka cocktail, of course, then is wine. The Fiorini Winery is north of Modena in northern Italy. That's where balsamic vinegar comes from. If you didn't know that little tidbit, this winery is known for Lambrusco, which is a sparkling red wine, or frizzante, as they say in Italian. So saluti. This sounds a lot like your Rosa Regale, Jen.
It does. It does. It's sweet too, right? Isn't Lambrusco sweet?
I have never had Lambrusco. I don't think I've ever had a sparkling red. I will try it, though. I wonder if I can find it here.
But Rosa Regale is probably a good substitute for that, because that's what that is. It's a sparkling pink. It's not really red.
Yeah,
sparkling
red.
pink.
Well, we'll have to check this out.
Yeah, it's a good way to start, though. And so, saluti, let's start talking about Adventures by Disney. So, as Lori said, these are really kind of the lesser known option that you can do with the Walt Disney Travel Company. Usually when you think Disney, you think theme parks. Some of you think cruise lines. Some of you are maybe even starting to think about Hawaii with Disney's Aulani. But Adventures by Disney is a whole different ballgame when it comes to travel and adventure. You still get that same quality that you've grown to know and love and expect from the Disney name. And basically, Disney has taken the best thing about the company, which is their ability to tell a story. And they have developed this program called Adventures by Disney, where you can have that storytelling all over the world. So there are 4 different types of trips in Adventures by Disney that they offer. They offer these escapes, which are short 2 to 5 day long adventures around the world. They offer land adventures, river cruising, and now they have just this year actually started offering these private event adventures. So we're going to talk to you about all of them. The first one are the escapes, because those are the shortest in length. You can do these escapes as a standalone vacation, or you can add them on to any of your land or river cruises or Disney Cruise Line vacations. They are still immersive. There are a couple of components that are going to be the same no matter which Adventure by Disney trip that you decide to do. And that is that they are immersive, they're personable, they are family friendly.
But what I really love about them is that no matter where you go, like you said, it's not like you get the Disney difference and the storytelling, but it's also authentic. This isn't fantasy. This isn't, it's not gimmicky in any way. What they use their adventure guides who are, expert guides, but they also then pair with locals too, so that you can get the experience from a local's perspective. And then the other cool thing about Adventures by Disney that I really love is like this sort of, like we talked about a few minutes ago, this sort of backstage access that they sort of get because Disney has relationships then with these locations and stuff. And because it's Disney,
everybody wants to be a part of it.
Right. People partner and they're able to just give you an experience like nobody else. But for me, the biggest thing for me is I love the fact that it's a local guide as well as a Disney guide. Because now you're just pairing two of the greatest things ever.
I agree. And I think that's the way to do it. And that's why they're able to do this storytelling, because they're using people who are trusted by Disney. And then they're using people who are local to the area who really know what you need to know to get the most out of visiting that area. So let's talk about some of these destinations for these short escapes, which are a great way to kind of dip your feet into Adventures by Disney. So they have destinations in Europe. You can do a Barcelona escape, Copenhagen, London, Rome, or Paris. Any one of those options, sounds kind of cool to me.
I was really sad. So these escapes are short, right? They're 2 to 5 days. The Barcelona one in particular is 4 days. I'm really sad because I think, like you said, this is a great entry point into Adventures by Disney. The price on this one is something I could swallow because they are pricey trips. And it would have been great to have been able to do this when I was already in Europe. But thanks, COVID, I didn't get a chance to do this. But if you find yourself in Europe for any reason, a quick 4-day adventure going from Montserrat to Barcelona and all the amazing things on this itinerary. I mean, my goodness, let's highlight a couple.
That's a good one to also add on to your cruise, because I know that there's one of the Mediterranean cruise itineraries for Disney Cruise Line starts in Barcelona.
Right.
I was going to say, it's just a good thing to add in general. Like if you're, my family also likes to explore by themselves. So if this is 2 to 5 days, you could also plan something else where you're just in Barcelona for a couple of days, or you're somewhere around there with your family, and then you kind of add this on as a separate part of your trip. So you get the best of both worlds.
True. But can I say, even if you didn't do that, this is one of the things I love about Adventures by Disney, is because it is a detailed planned itinerary with built-in time to do your own thing at each place, where they will give you concierge recommendations and set you up with whatever you need. But they do build in some time if you only did say if you were going on one of those cruises and then wanted to explore Barcelona a little more, which is such a beautiful place. You could do it and still have your own time, which I really love about Adventures by Disney. But anyway, I guess I'll just have to find myself back in Europe to do this.
I think so too. I think it's a great way to, do Spain, do Barcelona with Disney, and then
you get it's gorgeous. So let's just give you an example of since we're talking about this itinerary anyway, let's just give you an example.
Since we all seem to want to go to Barcelona.
I know I might be influencing the conversation a little bit because this is one of the regrets, like one of the big, we canceled a trip to Spain.
This would be my pick too. So
yeah,
I say we go together again with the GoFundMe page.
I know so many people who have been, and everything looks spectacular. So the first day you get to Barcelona, there is a group welcome dinner at some cool place, and you stay at some 5-star accommodations. These hotels look amazing. They're not cheaping out on you at all.
And that's the really cool part about these trips also, is that as much as we like to plan, we don't have to do any of it because they've taken care of all of that for you. And that what they have planned for you is like high quality amazingness.
Right. So for the busy person or the person who plans vacations for a living and doesn't want to do their own, or just you out there who is just working and busy and would love to, but you just don't have the time, and you need someone that is trustworthy, and it's going to be awesome. So anyway, so the next day you're in Barcelona. Now what do? It's a private tour of La Sagrada Familia, that huge basilica that is a private tour, and what backstage kind of access do you get in there? That's what I want to
Right.
know.
And
And
that's
then,
not something that if you're sitting down and you're planning your itinerary by yourself, you're probably just showing up and winging it with the, the tour guides that they have there, or just reading about it in your book that you're bringing with you on the tour. Like there's
right,
nothing to compare to, like,
right. Oh no.
yeah.
No. In fact, when I was living abroad, I signed up for this like small tour groups, like local. And then when things closed down and I couldn't go on these small groups, like on Thursday mornings with Philippe was his name, he was fabulous. I always would walk around the city, with things closed and just notice things and think, oh, I just wish I had a little like Petit Philippe in my pocket to tell me what it is that I'm looking at. There is just nothing better than having a local guide with you when you go into a city. And I did miss Philippe when he was no longer doing tours. Petit Philippe. Anyway, so there are 4 different tours included with this Barcelona trip over 2 days. You stay at a beautiful hotel. Breakfast and lunch is included on the day 2, so you have the evening for dinner for yourself. If you don't feel like paella, you can have something else. And then the next day, again, a couple tours and a farewell dinner, breakfast and lunch also included. And then you head home the next day. But it just sounds like a perfect little taste. Hit the highlights, get the pulse of the city.
And from what I understand from Barcelona, as well as these other destinations like London, Rome, Paris, like you don't need more than 2 to 5 days in these cities to get a great idea of the culture and the history and the life there. So they're kind of perfect little trips.
Yeah,
See,
I
you
mean,
guys
I
are going
wonder.
on about the Barcelona one. I want the Rome one.
I would do that too. Don't get me wrong. I would say no to none of these. This would all, go fund us for any one of these trips, people.
Right?
Because I'm,
I'd
yes,
yell about the Rome one.
sign me up.
That one looks awesome.
And again, you don't need more than 2 to 5 days to
No.
experience Rome,
No, 3 days in Rome is plenty.
especially if when you're doing it that way and you have this guide telling you what's important to get out of this culture and this city and this experience. It's kind of perfect. But
I mean, and a local Roman guide.
Right?
Yes, please.
Oh boy. They used to have pre-COVID, they used to have a lot more of these itineraries available in North America, but right now they don't. Right now, the only options in North America that you can do for the short escapes is they have a Disneyland and Southern California escape, and then they have a winter in Wyoming escape that looks kind of dreamy. But they also have a land adventure in that area as well, which I think I would rather do. But anyway.
I have to say, I feel like this is a miss on Adventures by Disney, especially with a lot of people kind of, wanting to stay close to home as they venture out again. I feel like we need more.
They had a Montana. No, they had an Arizona one.
They did. I'm looking
did.
now because I was just actually quoting for someone, and I could have sworn maybe it was just not being offered in 2022, but
I think they're limiting their itineraries right now
Yeah.
because things are still slowly opening up. They used to have a New York one, which would have been great, but theater was a big part of that.
Oh
And they
no,
used to have these.
they were full land adventures in Arizona. They aren't the short
Yeah.
escapes.
that's what it
Yes.
is.
Yes.
Yeah, I know
I'm
they have
sorry.
the
Yes.
full land ones, but these short escapes, like I said, they had a Boston one that they used to be able to do. They had a New York one, but
Yeah.
I know that the reason they're not doing the New York one though is because it was very theater heavy. Like
Yeah.
you did a behind the scenes, like you got to go see a workshop and with Broadway actors, and that's just not something that we can do right now with COVID.
They
All
had
right, I
Walt
take
Disney
it back
World
then.
too.
It's not a miss by Disney because they have plenty of
It's
long
a
escapes.
miss by COVID.
It was
Yeah.
just the short
Yes.
escapes they're short on. But again, a little bit of a miss because it's a lot easier to do a local short escape than a European short escape. I don't know. I'm sure they know what they're doing.
If you're able to do a Disneyland, why can't you do a Walt Disney World? They used to have a Walt Disney World one.
They had a New York City. They had
Boston.
They had a Boston. They'll come back. They'll come back.
But no, the Wyoming one looks awesome. To me, the Wyoming one is almost like it's kind of like almost like, I guess, a mini Alaska one, where if
No,
you're
it
like,
lost me at winter.
I don't want to travel to Alaska, not quite yet. It's a long flight, blah, blah, blah. This one's kind of cool because you still have the dog sledding and some other things there, and it is a winter adventure. So I think that one's kind of cool.
Lori,
mean,
your
it's
Canada's
like-
showing.
I know my
No,
Canada is showing.
I'm with you, man. This one
No,
looks
it
awesome.
says winter. Ugh, you lost me at winter.
I want to
Absolutely
be
not.
cowgirl.
There's sleigh rides, and there's Jackson Hole has the two
Is
snow
there skiing?
tubes.
Do they take you skiing? If there's no
You're at
skiing,
Jackson Hole. It doesn't look like you're skiing. It just looks
no.
like you're snow tubing.
Why would
But
I
if
go
it's
all
a
the way to
short-
Jackson Hole?
Because it's a short escape, so you can extend your vacation and stay after or go early and ski then and then
This is
do
why
your
she's so
escape.
good at what she does. This is why she's so
Sorry,
good at what
this
she
is
does.
why. I mean,
It's
any one of
true.
these would be great, but the thing that I'm most excited about with Adventures by Disney are these land adventures. So
Yeah.
these short
Agreed.
escapes are a great way to dip your toe in, or to add to something that's already pre-existing, or to make an excuse to extend that ski vacation or whatever it is. But these land adventures are definitely your standalone option, and they are amazing. There are over 40 amazing destinations, and this is basically a VIP tour of any of these. So let me just read the options first, and then we'll kind of dig deep into what some of our bucket list itineraries are, because there's no way our podcast would be 7 hours long if we really did a deep dive into each one of these. But in Africa and Asia Pacific, you have options in Australia, China, Egypt, Japan, New Zealand, South Africa, and then you have one in Vietnam, Laos, and Cambodia. Sounds awesome. In Central and South America, they have a land adventure in Costa Rica or Peru. And then in Europe, they have a land adventure where you go to England and France. They have one in Germany. They have a Grand Europe tour where you do England, France, and Italy, Greece, Iceland, Ireland. They have several just Italy land adventures, Italy and the Amalfi Coast, Italy and Switzerland. They have Norway. They have a trip that goes to Poland, the Czech Republic, and Austria, which I need to do. They have Portugal, Scotland, Spain. And then, of course, in North America, some of the ones that we were just talking about, they have one in Alaska. You can do Arizona and Utah. They have one in the Canadian Rockies. They have a Disneyland resort in Southern California, long land adventure. Montana, they have an option in New England, and they have an option in Wyoming. So, oh my gosh, literally anywhere in the world. Some of these destinations are once in a lifetime. And definitely when you add the Disney name behind things, I think any of these are once in a lifetime and totally, totally worth it. So let's kind of start from the beginning. Juliana talked about these trips being it's the Disney difference, and they are pricey, but this is what you're paying for when you go. You're getting this Disney difference. All of these trips, like the short escapes, you have 2 guides. So you have the comfort of knowing that you have a Disney trained adventure guide who's there to handle everything, make sure your trip is hassle-free, which is a big key. And then you also have these local experts who are able to really speak about the country that you're in, the area that you're in, share these wonderful stories that they grew up with, help you connect to these people, help you connect to the culture, tell you about the traditions. You actually experience these traditions because you get these behind the scene insider access to these things that you probably wouldn't really be doing if you were booking this trip on your own and just going and doing an Airbnb and taking a tour of the land. So I think that's the big difference. The other big difference, obviously, you would expect from Disney that all of these trips are tailored for families. How can you not when you're a Disney sponsored program? But make no mistake, if you are not into traveling with your kids or your family, that's just not your thing, and you don't want to be surrounded by other people's kids, Adventures by Disney does offer several adult exclusive trips with the same attention to detail and the quality and the unique experiences that we're talking about. But I think the cool thing is that these are tailored to families. And so you're really encouraged to make your kids part of these destinations and to turn them into these world travelers who I mean, I think what better way to kind of give them a taste for adventure than by going on one of these trips where they really are immersed into the local culture.
See, I like the opposite effect that your kids can come, but then Adventures by Disney does one step further where there are nights that they are running adults. Like I just went into the Vietnam one because I love Vietnam. And they had an adult night and the adults went out to dinner and they hung on to your kiddos and they were doing their own dinner and then they were watching a Disney movie.
I love that. Where else can you do that?
I think it gives the kids a good break too, because traveling with my kids after 8-9 days of constantly seeing tours and museums and all that, Disney's figured out too. Sometimes they just need a break.
Right. That's the thing about these tours.
Reset.
The itineraries are a really beautiful mix of moving and stopping. And I like that a lot. They just work.
Yeah. It's, I think you get the best of both worlds where sometimes when I'm traveling with kids, I turn to my husband, I'm like, well, if the kids weren't here, we could go do that. And
I think the cool thing is that they group all the kids together for these special like junior adventure nights. So they get, I'm just thinking, I have not done an Adventures by Disney trip, but we have done Disney Cruise Line. And one of the cool side effects of the cruises is that my kids always come home with these lifelong friends that they're now like snapping or whatever the term is. They're talking on Snapchat and they're texting each other. And I feel like that would just multiply exponentially on one of these types of trips because you're experiencing something so amazing on one of these Adventures by Disney trips with kids who are your age. And, I just think that's so cool. What a cool side effect.
I think that there's a lot of intimidation too sometimes in planning travel around the world with your kids. It's so wonderful and so important. Obviously, the three of us agree very strongly on this, to get them out there and to have them see the world if you can. But that is really, really intimidating when you are trying to piece together a trip with your 7 and 9-year-olds. It's very intimidating. And again, not here, right? Because all you got to do is book and it's all handled. And like I said, there's just such a great mix of downtime and uptime. And with your downtime, you can still get a lot of support, knowing what to do and where to go and never feeling like it's totally up to you. Have you ever gotten somewhere with your kids and just been like, if this doesn't go how I planned it, then what? Like what? It's really unsettling. God, I've even done that at Disney World. I've been like,
and I think even the small things like, some of these adventures where you're going to multiple cities in a country, like even just the simple logistics of all right, I'm going to have to get my luggage from this hotel to this hotel. And what if I miss the plane or the train or you don't have to think about any of that.
What if we can't get into that restaurant? My kids are hungry. What are we going to do?
Yes.
Like this is
when is snack time? And it really is like, take my money, plan it, tell me where to be and when, and I'll show up and show up and be confident that it's going to be amazing. So I definitely like that hassle-free aspect of it. Especially whether I'm traveling with my kids or not. Because to be honest with you, like it was fine for me when I was in my 20s to just wing it and show up to a city and just do whatever. But I'm 46 and I need to know that things are going to go off without a hitch and that I'm not going to have to stress.
And on that note, we should mention that there are some itineraries that are adults only. So we talk about how great these are for exposing your kids and your family, and they're wonderful, and they are catered to the kids, the specific ages of the kids that are on the trip too. These are small groups. So they're not, if there's no 7-year-olds on the trip, they're not talking to you like you're 7. But there are, if you don't want to be an adult on a trip with kids, there are adult only itineraries. They're amazing. There's one in Italy that I saw that I've been recommending to someone. They just are fabulous. And like Jen said, I mean, I don't want to have to worry. I would just like to take a vacation I didn't have to plan.
I was going to say, some of these locations too are not, it's not just like showing up to a Paris or a Germany where there's like, you can go on Google for 5 seconds, figure out what the top 5 things are that you're supposed to go see. And it's super easy to get a flight in and easy to go. Some of these itineraries, I mean, you're talking Vietnam and Cambodia. You're talking, Egypt, which is not the easiest to get into right now. They have an Arctic one somewhere in Antarctica one somewhere.
Well,
That's
just
a
it.
lot of research and
They're on all
planning
7
and-
continents now, aren't
Yeah.
they? Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, what?
These are locations that, I mean, talking as 3 travel agents, these are not easy to plan or figure out what visas you need or figure out anything along those lines or where to stay or transportation. And
not to mention itinerary and
yes,
like you said, top 5 things to see. And it's a lot of planning. I would much rather leave it to the professionals to just tell me where to go and where to be and what time to be there.
yeah.
So in that vein, looking at these Asia and Asia Pacific options, we know that Lori's going to doing the Vietnam, Laos, and Cambodia one.
I'm coming with you.
I think I'm all about New Zealand.
New Zealand looks cool. I've never been there. I have been to Vietnam twice now, but I love Vietnam.
I'd like to go to Vietnam. And in fact, I think Vietnam, to your point, if I could only do one Adventures by Disney, I think I would want Disney to plan my Vietnam trip.
Yeah, Vietnam.
Although,
It's the Laos and Cambodia. It's not easy to get into those countries.
right.
It is not. It is hard, and you really got to know some customs. And I think that's a huge part of it too, where you have that guide with you that's allowed to tell you, yes, you can do this. No, you cannot do this. No, in some of these areas, you're not allowed to wear tank tops. You're not allowed to wear shorts as women, and they're able to guide you through that, so you know what you're doing is respectful towards all of these cultures as well, which is an awesome thing.
And the South Africa one looks amazing also. And
Yes.
I don't know if you remember, this was pre-COVID, but oh my gosh, I'm going to blank on his name now. The Imagineer who designed Animal Kingdom.
Yes.
Did a special tour. Rhodey.
Yeah.
That's
John.
his last name.
John?
No.
No?
Something Rhodey. He did a special Adventures by Disney trip where he went with you and he was one of your guides. And that would have been, right? That would have been my
Joe Rhodey.
Joe Rhodey.
I was close, you guys.
And that one, despite the price tag, that one sold out in like 10 minutes. But just imagine. But yeah, I would do any, let's get real. I would do any of these if they fell on my lap. But I think my bucket list one would definitely be the Vietnam one. I'm with you.
Vietnam's great. The South Africa one's really cool. I saw the itinerary for that one. Cape Town's amazing. And then it does bring you up
it, girls.
And then it brings you up
it.
to do a safari, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Egypt's impossible to get into right now. I would be all over that one.
The South Africa one, I'll skip the snake and insect presentation, but I'll meet you at the bar. These look awesome. Oh, this South Africa one looks really cool too.
I have to say, they all look amazing, but that group, the Africa and Asia Pacific group, those ones, I would do any one of them. And the North America ones, those are my bucket list ones too. The Montana, Wyoming, like I said, I want to be a cowgirl. And these trips like really immerse you into that beautiful land, and you do things like a cowgirl, like you cook over an open flame. And
no.
Also, you there's 3 boys. No, you wouldn't do that.
Bring me to Alaska, man. I'm not cowboy.
Oh, I would do that too.
Well, yeah. I was just going to say that the Alaska one, for those who are not getting on a cruise, there are some people who just do not like to sail, and I get that. My sister just does not do boats. And then there's Jen with her seasickness situation. The Alaska one's a great opportunity because you can do all pretty much the cool things that you would do on an Alaska cruise, but just from a land-based perspective.
That's true. Or the Scotland one. I've been watching Outlander lately, so now of course I need to do the Scotland.
So there's a ton in Europe, right? There's tons. Any country you want to go to that's not true. That's a big lie. But lots of countries you would think that you would want to visit in Europe has an itinerary.
I was going to say, you got a good portion on there. I mean,
yeah,
you got.
I wouldn't mind doing the Ireland one. So let's take a look at that one real close.
They got Costa Rica, Peru from South America. I mean, they got pretty much everything. You don't want to go anywhere else in South America.
That's not true.
Yes, it is.
Any of the Italy ones look fantastic.
Can we talk about Ireland for a minute, though?
Yes,
because this is another trip that I didn't get to take when I lived over there. But so this one's an 8-day one, and it starts in Dublin and takes you to the other coast in Shannon, which I think is really awesome. So what do you get to see? Do they take you to the Guinness factory, you think?
I was going to say, is there...
How
Is it called a factory? It's a brewery.
Welcome
brewery.
Reception.
Irish dance lessons.
Whiskey distillery. Private guided tour of the whiskey distillery.
All these castles. Dublin.
But that's just a great example of one of those like behind the scene backstage pass things. I challenge you to find another guided tour where you are going and learning how to Irish dance.
Right. And then there's an Irish pub lunch and musical experience. I don't know what that means, but I'm sure it's awesome.
Cute. For the junior adventures, there's a shamrock hunt.
Oh, you guys, on day 4, there's butter making and Irish dance lessons.
Yes. That's what I'm saying. Like, these are insane. These are not just, we're going to go to a castle and we're going to learn about, yes, you're going to go to castles.
This is just one day.
You're going to learn the history, but you're also going to do these amazing things that you're not going to do if you're planning this trip. Just rent an Airbnb or rent a car and drive from town to town. It's pretty cool.
It really is. I want to do this Ireland one.
All right. So what are they GoFunding me for now?
Do you want to know? You mean like the prices or just the locations?
No. What are all the? We have a lot of
things that our fan is sending us to.
I hope our fan is independently wealthy.
Well, maybe not.
I just want to pick a sample day. So like, okay, here's day 2 in Dublin. You get breakfast, then you do a private visit to Epic, which is the Irish Emigration Museum, then the distillery, then a private lunch and musical experience, and then you spend the afternoon in Dublin, and then they give you the evening on your own.
Which is nice. It's a really nice balance of having them guide you, get to know the lay of the land, get to know the city, and then leaving you to your own devices to explore further or to go get a meal without the group. I love it. It's the best of both worlds. So
I like day 3 too. I could go on. I want to do this one.
All right. So those are the big land ones. This next one is what I'm excited about. And actually I started looking into for my family, which was the river cruising.
Yeah. So right now they're doing river cruises on the Seine, the Rhine, or the Danube. These river cruises are an Adventures by Disney exclusive, but they have partnered with Amma Waterways, which if you know anything about river cruising, that's a very high-end, trustworthy brand of small ships on these rivers. So they are all deluxe staterooms, great food.
Huge staff to client ratios.
Yes.
So imagine when Jen says small ships, she means small ships. I would even call them boats.
Yes.
Because think about this. The Seine is not a wide river. It's a snaky river. These, you can see them when you're, just picture them. If you've seen a picture of the Seine, you've seen these boats just sitting there. Saw a lot of them not used during COVID, just lining the river. They're not big.
No, this is not like looking on the Seine and seeing the Disney magic.
No, these are small, personalized experiences. And when we would be like, if I would go out,
ships, by the way,
they are ships.
Sure,
they are ships. The definition of ship is if it has a boat on the boat, then it's a ship.
Well, it has to have a boat on the boat.
So it has a boat on the boat. So it's
to have a boat on the boat if it's going to be taking people places,
right?
You got to have the lifeboats. Anywho. So don't they? I would imagine river cruises.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? They're calling it a ship, so they must have some type of lifeboat on there because then it's a ship.
Then it's a ship. So I can remember like running by them, and when everything was shut down, a lot of them, the curtains would be open, and so like the whole side of the ship was just, you'd see like into these bedrooms and with these floor to ceiling windows that overlook the river. They're really, really cool. Highly recommend. They're beautiful, but small, personal service. Add the Disney touch. Sign me up.
These ones just looked really cool to me because when you're on a ship or a regular cruise ship, you're stuck in certain areas. Obviously, you're by the ocean, you're down by Italy, and this one kind of brings you more into Austria, and it brings you into that one specifically in Germany. So you get to go more inland in Europe, but you get to see kind of as much as you can see. And I love things by the water.
And you don't have to unpack a million times.
You don't
Literally,
have
your
to
hotel
unpack.
room comes with you, which is the cool thing about traveling. And the cool thing about these river cruises, I mean, in my old age, I've become increasingly seasick, but people swear to me that river cruising is different, and that because you're not feeling the wavy ocean in the middle of the ocean, people swear to me that I can handle a river cruise. So, and this is definitely something like, if I'm going to splurge and I'm going to test out that theory, I'm going to do it with Adventures by Disney, because they're amazing. And these itineraries, again, like Adventures by Disney, you're getting these inside access, you're getting these unique tours of all these ports that you're going to. And then on the ship, you're getting this great quality with fantastic food and attention to detail, and a huge staff to passenger ratio. So amazing. And lots of programming also for teens and junior adventurers, just like on the Adventure by Disneyland tours. So
And these river tours, actually, a whole slew of them is going to release for 2023. It actually starts releasing tomorrow. For previous Adventures by Disney guests, or not tomorrow, we record this a different time, on the 25th. So by the time you guys hear this, it has already been released. So you have Disney. So by January 28th, when you were listening to this, it released to the general public. So these ones are new. These are all for 2023. Some of these have Christmas markets, which is awesome.
yeah.
I'm looking through that one right now because the Christmas markets are awesome in Europe.
The Christmas market ones look amazing. Like,
yeah,
that was one of my bucket list items, was to experience the markets. I'm so glad I did.
I've seen a few in Germany and in Vienna, and I love the Christmas markets. This one looks awesome. Oh my God, there's a Rhine River cruise, food and wine.
Yeah, and so like the Adventures by Disneyland tours, there are options that are adult exclusive as well.
Like this one?
Which, yeah, that one is my favorite example, because it's wine and food.
Oh my God, it is. All it is wine and food.
Yeah.
That sounds amazing.
So that's our next GoFundMe.
Literally, just wine and food.
Yeah.
For entire activities. Oh, I love it.
I'm down.
Right?
Give us a call. But again, this is the best example for hassle-free travel, because again, not only are all your excursions already taken care of, you're not missing anything, you're getting this great experience. It's also totally hassle-free because you unpack and pack once, because your hotel comes with you. So this is a great way to do Europe also. It's on these river cruises. Were we ready to move on to the last one?
I think so. So the last one is the private adventures, right?
Yeah, this is brand new in 2022, I think.
Shocking.
Yeah, it is shocking that there's something brand new, but this is amazing. I guess there was a need for this. But this is basically your land adventures, but just with your handpicked travelers. So the regular Adventures by Disneyland adventure packages have anywhere from 30 to 45 people on those tours. These private adventures accommodate up to 12. So you can either decide to do your family of 4 and that's it, or you can do your family of 4 and your extended family or friends or whatever, but it's only you. You get a lot more say in your itinerary. You meet with these planners ahead of time to plan the ultimate adventure. And they're currently offered in 11 different countries. So you can do a private adventure tour in Australia, Costa Rica, Egypt, England and France, Greece, Ireland, Italy, New Zealand, Peru, South Africa, or Lori's doing this one, Vietnam, Laos, and Cambodia.
I was going to say, I think the coolest part about these private adventures, though, is there's no age requirement, which we haven't really
No.
talked about. Adventures by
true.
Disney's age requirements are super high. So Logan, the littlest one, is 3. I'm not able to go on Adventures by Disney right now with him. Some of their ages minimum are 4, but then they're recommending 6 to 7. And I'd hate to be that person that brought a 4-year-old that ruined everybody's tour. So, but these private tours give you that option where there are no age requirements. So if you have younger kids that want to go and this is something that you want to do, then you're able to do that because they're able to customize that itinerary and you don't have to worry about screwing up some stranger's vacation.
Just your own families.
Just my own families or close friends. And then they knew what they signed up for.
Exactly. No, that is a really good point. And a lot of them, I know a lot of Disney people recommend that even if the recommended age is 4, I think most of these itineraries are really geared toward kids ages 8 and up.
Yeah.
Especially if you're paying this much money, which we also have not really touched on yet, which we will in a minute, but that's definitely true. There is no minimum age. On the other hand, you still get the private guided tours. You still get hassle-free travel where they're the ones who need to kind of negotiate how you're getting your luggage from one place to the other and how you're getting from one city to another. They're the ones who are scheduling these unique cultural immersive experiences. They're the ones getting you all this insider access to places. So you're not losing anything by doing a private adventure versus the, already preset land adventures. The other bonus for doing these private adventures is that you get to pick your dates, because obviously with the land adventures, you're going by already set dates. So they do offer just the same awesomeness that the land adventures offer, but the flexibility of being able to choose your dates, choose your people, and be able to take your younger kids. So, or not, or just do a group of adults, which would be fun too. But let's get to the bottom line here, because that's usually what people want to know most about. So the bottom line is, yes, these trips are for sure pricey. The short escapes will run you anywhere between $2,000 and $4,000 per person, depending on the escape that we're talking about. Your land adventures have a lot bigger range just because the trips are a lot different and they vary in location as well as length of trips. So they can range anywhere. I've seen the lowest be around $4,000 per person, and I've seen things up to $14,000 per person, depending on the trip again. The river cruises, we've seen anywhere between $4,000 and $6,000 a person, again, depending on your destination and also the time of year.
I think these are the best deal of the bunch, though.
I think so too. I agree. And then the private adventures are anywhere from $4,000 and up per person for groups of up to 12 guests. But yeah,
I was gonna say, before anyone gets sticker shock here, because it's a lot of money. But by the time you add all this stuff up, when you're traveling internationally, when you're adding transportation, hotels, when you're adding food, beverage, experience, tours, tickets to go into those museums, tickets to go see this, and all that time and effort you put in, because
tour guides.
Your time and effort is worth money as well for planning this. All of this is how it gets to that price, which, I think a lot of people are like, well, if I can keep it at this price, but I'm like, by the time you get, and you're all said and done, and you've done your vacation and you add up all your expenses, you're probably
close.
Yeah.
You're close. I was just given a very generous budget for my 20th anniversary Hawaii trip, and I'm trying to piecemeal a vacation because there's no Adventures by Disney.
Which they should have.
I know.
Is there a suggestion box?
Yeah, Moana, you could do that.
I know. So island hopping, Hawaii island hopping,
yeah.
And then you end up at Aulani for a few days. That's what I want to do, but I'm having to piece it together, and it is so expensive.
Yeah. But like anything, you get what you pay for, and you are certainly getting the best quality with the most unique insider immersive experiences when you sign up for any one of these Adventured by Disney trips. So, which leads
wanna
us
sign up.
to the Mouseka tip of the day, Lori.
Yes. So, as we said, we think these vacations are the ultimate splurge and 100% worth their price, though. So, our suggestion and tip for the day is that you start by doing one of the escapes. If you've never done Adventures by Disney before, this might be a way to kind of dip your toe in and see if you enjoy Adventures by Disney. From what I've heard, it's kind of like a drug. Once you do one, you keep coming back for more. But I think these escapes are really cool. They're super short. So you can experience kind of what it is. And then from there, you can figure out if you would like to do a longer one. So that is our tip of the day.
I want to go. Okay. Thank you for spending another episode with us. We, as always, would love to hear what you think. What do you think about Adventures by Disney? Is this something that you'd be willing to do as an adult or with your family? Which of these amazing tours is on your bucket list? Head on over to our Facebook group, Mouseka Moms Podcast, and let us know. Follow us there, where we go live with all the news out of Disney for the week at our new time every Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern. Check out our blog at mousekamomsblog.com. And of course, please be sure to subscribe to our podcast so that you receive notifications when new content is released and you never miss an episode. And please consider writing us a review on Apple Podcasts. We really, really, really appreciate it. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.